So much to get into on today's San Francisco 49ers report. A lot of free agency buzz out there for the Niners. But first, we do begin with Brock Purdy. His surgery has been set. Some confusion on this front. Mike Silver had originally reported that the surgery is going to take place on Wednesday. Looks as though that surgery on his UCL is going to be on Friday. The big looming question with that elbow injury for Purdy, what's the recovery timeline? This is really what it comes down to when you seek some advice from medical professionals and a lot of the doctors who I've spoken with and what the 49ers have continued to say. It really all comes down to this. Is it going to be a repair or is it going to be a full reconstruction? If it's a full Tommy John reconstruction, Brock Purdy will probably be out about 12 months and he won't play for the 2023 NFL season. If it's that hybrid repair, then he could be on that Nick Mullins type of timeline, and that's the hope, that's the expectation from the 49ers organization and in that front office, that it's going to be the repair so that he's on that 6-month timeline, which could, and I think this is highly doubtful, put him in line to start week 1 for the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think that's going to happen because of the delay in surgery and because you just have to be cautious with this injury. But it's good news that Brock Purdy finally going to go under the knife, because last week and the week before, there was a lot of confusion. There were some worries with that surgery being delayed because of the ongoing inflammation in his elbow. So let's stick with the quarterback position here, because if Purdy isn't ready, I think that the 49ers should have trust in Trey Lance to be the guy and allow him to develop, considering the NFC West looks as though outside of San Francisco and maybe Seattle, it could be a dumpster fire. Let Trey Lance grow within this role. But according to Mike Silver, 49ers taking a look potentially at a couple of quarterbacks in NFL free agency. Here's what he had to say in his piece today. The 49ers, depending upon the outcome of starter Brock Purdy's elbow surgery, which is scheduled for Wednesday. It's actually going to be Friday most likely. We'll be seeking a veteran to pair with 2021 first-round pick Trey Lance. Matt Ryan, Jacoby Brissett, and Andy Dalton are among those being considered. And a couple of days ago, we talked about Baker Mayfield. Another name being thrown into the mix is Mason Rudolph, the longtime Steelers backup. But for the purpose of what Mike Silver said, let's look at those 3 quarterbacks. Matt Ryan won an MVP when Kyle Shanahan was his offensive coordinator with the Atlanta Falcons. That year, he was tremendous. But if you watch Matt Ryan last year, the dude had no arm strength at all, and he looks to be beyond cooked. Now, if he's your quarterback number 3, you'd rather have him come in an emergency situation as compared to Josh Johnson. And even though he is kind of washed, he could be a lot better and is a lot better than Josh Johnson. Now, last year with the bad Colts team, completed 65.5% of his passes, 14 touchdowns, 13 picks for more than 3,000 yards. For Jacoby Brissett, he's my number 1 option. I think that he could be a viable replacement to come in for a few games. He actually played pretty well before Deshaun Watson came out of that suspension. 12 touchdowns, 6 picks for him. If you have that ground game going, then Brissett is able to get the job done as a passer. He threw for more than 2,600 yards. And for Andy Dalton, the highest completion percentage among all of these players. And outside of Matt Ryan, the most accomplished starter, because when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals, a lot of playoff appearances, but he is what he is. Again, if he's quarterback number 3, I'm fine with it. If he's your backup and he's thrust into a long-term starting role, if an injury happens, that's when you start to get a little bit worried. Threw for more than 2,800 yards. But these aren't the only 3 quarterbacks garnering buzz. I had mentioned Baker Mayfield and Mason Rudolph. How about 2 of the greats of all time, and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers? Silver with this tidbit on Brady. If Purdy's procedure to repair that UCL ends up knocking him out for most or all of the 2023 season, I'd expect the Niners to place a call to Tom Brady. to see if there's any chance they could convince him to end his retirement and play a final season with this hometown team. I think you still have to keep that on the table. We talked about that last week. Make sure you go check out that video. And then as far as Aaron Rodgers goes, the latest on him, according to Silver, high-level sources that he reached out to said that the 49ers making a trade run at Aaron Rodgers is, quote, highly unlikely. It's also highly unlikely that the Las Vegas Raiders are going to place a call for Aaron Rodgers' services as well. The two other quarterbacks being mentioned, according to a couple of reports out there from viable sources, Baker Mayfield and Mason Rudolph. I'd rather go Baker Mayfield. He has a lot more starting experience, and frankly, I think he's the more talented quarterback. Mason Rudolph is a good quarterback to have in your quarterback room as that probable third option in that quarterback spot. So what say you? We just talked about a bunch of quarterbacks to kick off today's show, and we're only getting started. Could the 49ers sign a couple of edge rushers? Stay tuned for that. But who do you want to start week 1 of the 2023 NFL season at that quarterback position? Drop me a name down below. Trey Lance makes a lot of sense to me. Could edge help be on the way to help out Nick Bosa? Big storyline that I've continued to harp on all throughout this offseason. Leonard Floyd expected to be released by the Los Angeles Rams, who appear to be tanking, and Bud Dupree has been cut by the Tennessee Titans. First, though, today's show is sponsored by Athletic Greens. You know how I started my day today? I woke up, did some Wim Hof breathing and meditation exercises. Then I started to drink some AG1 because that's how I start every single one of my days to really set the foundation for the rest of it. AG1, I take it every day, and you can get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I gave it a try because given my work schedule at Chat Sports, combined with my training regimen, as I'm on a mission to run every day for a year straight, I'm approaching 300 days here. I wanted sustained energy. I wanted to stay healthy. I wanted to keep my immune system strong so that I can strive toward my professional work life and personal fitness goals. I take AG1 every morning as part of my routine. It sets the table for the rest of my day. It's helped improve my gut health. It's boosted my energy. It supports my immune system and helps me recover since I'm putting such a toll on my body. I was listening to Aaron Rodgers' podcast with Aubrey Marcus, and he said in his darkness retreat, since he was eating so healthy, he had really clean poops. Less than 2 wipes. With AG1, I've experienced the same. Sorry, I just mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water, drink it first thing each morning or before and after my workouts. I also love that something that's this good for you costs less than $3 per day. So if you use our link, athleticgreens.com/chatsports, you get 5 free travel packs and a year's supply of vitamin D. Talked about hitting the toilet. That's really good for your gut. Your immune system will get boosted. Vitamin D is really good for you as well. athleticgreens.com/chatsports. If you want to improve and prioritize your health like me, do it with AG1. Couple of edge rushers are or are going to be made available here with NFL free agency and the tampering period starting on Monday. Could the 49ers sign one of them in Bud Dupree, released by the Titans today to save $9.35 million as Rand Carthen continues to run roughshod through that Titans roster, clearing up a bunch of money. I think a Derrick Henry trade is actually going to be next because if you're starting a rebuild or if you're resetting a little bit, why are you going to pay big money to a running back? Anywho, with Bud Dupree, Ian Rappaport with this early this morning, Titans expected to release him. The former big-ticket free agent was due $17 million this season. More player turnover to reallocate resources as another veteran pass rusher hits the market. And it's another veteran pass rusher hitting the market, which is really important for San Francisco. Unfortunately for Bud Dupree, he's an excellent player. He is undoubtedly one of the more talented edge rushers in the NFL. He's also been injured a lot. 2022, missed 11 games because of a hip injury. But week 1, or early in the season against the Giants, he was awesome. In 2021, knee and abdomen injuries. Missed 11 games as well. In 2020, tore his ACL with the Pittsburgh Steelers, still got paid by the Tennessee Titans, and missed 11 games that season. Continues to be a big problem. But when he is healthy, very, very good and talented coming off that edge position. 2019 was really the last time we got to see that. 16 games played over a full sample size, 11 and a half sacks, 16 tackles for loss. But look at what he did in 2020. Only 11 games played, still had 8 sacks. And then the last 2 years, the Titans were not paying for a combined 7 sacks in 2022 and 2021. But you have to think, right? Outside of a guy like Jason Verrett, can a guy finally get some injury luck at some point? If that's the case, then a lot of teams will be interested in him if the medicals do check out. But the 49ers also lead the league in ACL injuries since I believe Kyle Shanahan took over as head coach, or they're at least up there, top 5 in the NFL. And Dupree has had a lot of knee issues. Signed a 5-year, $82.5 million deal in 2021. So things were looking up for him at the time. Good for him for getting the bag. Titans saved more than $9 million. Dead cap hit of $10.85 million. But in the immediacy here, they're able to clear some money off the cap, and he becomes a very interesting edge target for a lot of teams in the NFL, albeit the injury concerns. So, Faithful, I want to hear from you down in the comment section. Free agency rumors are hot right now. Should the Niners target Bud Dupree? S for sign, P for pass. Another edge rusher who's probably the better player, and he's been more consistently available, and because of that, the production has been better. It's Leonard Floyd from the rival Los Angeles Rams. According to reports, the Rams will likely release him if they cannot find a trade partner. What I don't understand in professional sports nowadays is how teams will say that they're going to release a player if they can't trade him. But what that does, it immediately damages and plummets the trade value for that player, because teams are just going to wait instead of giving up something for that player to be available on the open market so they can sign him to a new deal and not pay that player the same contract that they were making with the previous team. For Leonard Floyd, 3 straight years of at least 9 sacks. So the sack production has certainly been there for a long time. To start his NFL career, it was a little bit choppy, but with the Los Angeles Rams, able to insert himself as a very, very good player. Started in 2020 with 10.5 sacks. In 2021, 9.5 sacks. In 2022, 9 more. And the message here for the San Francisco 49ers front office, you're thinking about paying Nick Bosa a contract extension. Nick Bosa just won Defensive Player of the Year. In my opinion, Nick Bosa is the best pure edge rusher in the National Football League. He's able to take over games by his lonesome, and he's been able to do it over the last couple of years without a lot of other sack production along that defensive line. I don't think that Leonard Floyd is a player who can pick up 10 sacks by being the marquee number 1 edge rusher on a team, but if you put him on the same defensive line as, let's say, an Aaron Donald, that's how he had 3 straight seasons with 9+ sacks. Or you put him on a defensive line with Nick Bosa. Leonard Floyd is a player who can win a lot of one-on-one matchups. He has a really quick first step, doesn't have a wide array of pass rushing moves to his arsenal. But if you put him on this defensive line on the opposite side of Nick Bosa, that's what this Niners team really needs to do. Because the last month of the season, Nick Bosa's sack production really did plummet. And it looked as though he was a little bit tired, because after his 18.5 sacks this year, there was a massive drop-off with sack production along this defensive line. It's a priority to keep him fresh, to keep him rejuvenated, and to maintain and conserve a little bit of his energy so that he can play his best football in the playoffs. And by signing a guy like Leonard Floyd, in my opinion, you're able to do that, and it would be a very good edge rushing combination for the San Francisco 49ers. And lastly, if you're going to give Nick Bosa perhaps the highest paid contract to a defensive player of all time, you want him to be good and be available for a long time. So pick an edge rusher between these two. Bud Dupree, type BD. Leonard Floyd, LF. Let us know. And if you love the San Francisco 49ers, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video, and make sure you turn on your notifications, because when free agency is here, there is going to be so much content and so many live shows, you don't want to miss out on the action.